Hello! Welcome to our audience appreciation event. I hope this is working. Think of the shot. My name is Sabrina Lewis, and I will be your host for the evening. Now, if you are looking for the performance of Romeo and Juliet, I'm very sorry to say that you're going to have to wait a few more weeks, but I really do hope you'll stick around for tonight's live stream because, of course, I'm a little biased, but I think it's going to be a really fun hour of sharing stories about and from our incredible Griffith Park Shakespeare Festival audience. As the festival house manager for the past 3 summers, I've had the privilege of meeting so many members of the ISC community. I have loved speaking with you in the park, cheering you on as you trek up that hill. I've even driven some of you up it, and just getting to watch your reactions to the shows every single night. That is actually my favorite part of working the festival. I'm not making this up. It's like on my bio on the ISC website. You can go check it out. But I love being at the festival because I get to watch not just the shows, but your incredible reactions every single night. I love going to the concessions tent, and the crew likes to watch from over there because we can see the stage, but we can also see your beautiful faces, smiling, laughing, cheering on the actors, getting to look out at a crowd that looks like this beautiful city of Los Angeles is something that is so fulfilling and so awesome for me. So it's a special place because of you guys, and that's what tonight is about. It's about you. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time to appreciate and acknowledge you. We have some great stuff lined up, like I said, but I want to welcome my first guest. So some of you know her from some of her very memorable roles on the festival stage, like Ariel in The Tempest, Isabella from Measure for Measure, and Viola in Twelfth Night. You might have also seen her in productions at the studio, like Othello, where she played Desdemona, or her solo show, Letters from Home. Please welcome Colleen. We're going to see if this works.
Hi, everyone.
Here.
Thanks for.
Of course. So I saw this actually came about because I saw your incredible Facebook memory that you had shared the other day from Richard III, and you were saying how performing at the festival doesn't just feel community. So I was hoping you could.
Absolutely. I really feel like performing a gig, and we're really getting to get an intimate way. I mean, I have legitimate friends who've just followed me for the last 5 years and have been so dedicated and come up to me after shows, and it's really a special place. And I would also like to say thank you. I'm really missing you all. I took the last 2 summers off. Last summer I was traveling. I miss you all so much, and I can't wait to get back.
For your last performance in the park, right?
Yes.
Oh man. Okay, so you said that you have people. Oh look, 12th night. So you've had people kind of come up over the years. What's it been like seeing? Because we've kind of seen kids grow up by coming to the festival, right? Can you talk a little bit about what that's been like?
Well, it's like Disneyland. I mean, you go out at intermission, and I remember the first show that I did at 12th Night, I was always like I was playing violin. It was my first time, but I was a little bit more wary of going. I realized how fun it was. It's like absolutely needed these kids and families, and they would come throughout the summer. You see them grow up, and it's beautiful. They ask for your autograph, they want pictures, and it's really beautiful.
Oh, that's fantastic. What has it been like to perform, or just other people come up to you and say like, thank you, I can finally see myself on stage because of you? Is that something that happens?
Yeah, I hear that a lot. I think it's what's really powerful about Independent Shakespeare Company, and also really powerful about our community and the Griffith Park Free Shakespeare Festival, is that our audiences look like us and we look like our audiences. And so it is such a wonderful experience. And there are lots of, there are especially lots of little girls who come up to me and tell me those things. And that's really wonderful.
Oh, that's so special. Has that experience working in the festival, has that translated to other performance venues for you? Like that kind of spirit and energy, has that carried with you at all?
I mean, here's the thing, is that my fans from ISC follow me to other shows that aren't ISC shows. But no, I mean, like that particular like community is very special. It's so special. Like there are some people who will like, I mean, as you know, they come like, for example, every Friday night. Like every Friday night, I'm gonna see you, you know. And it's wonderful.
That's so fantastic. Do you have any like specific favorite memories or interactions that stand out to you or have over the years?
I mean, there are so many. I think, I really think it's the young kids who come up, and I see them every year and watch them grow up, and then just saying things to me, and like having that relationship with these young girls, and also just the kids who are working on Shakespeare monologues in class, who will say things like, "Oh, I got to see that monologue on stage. I understand it a little bit more. Thank you. That's really wonderful." And I just had like wonderful people just sharing those moments. And I think that it just invites that kind of personal interaction with audience members that we have a little bit of a formality in other theaters. You know, like you definitely can go out and see the audience after a show, but this is very much a celebration. Everyone is invested. We're all in it together. Sometimes things go wrong and the audience is right there with you. And so, it's just a different kind of feeling, you know. We're outside together. When it's hot, it's hot. When it's cold, it's cold. We're in it, you know.
It's a very community building in that sense, right? Because you're all suffering through the same thing. If it's 100 degrees outside for them, it's 100 degrees outside for you too. So
yes.
Incredible. Awesome. Well, Colin, thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else you wanted to say about our incredible audience?
No, I love you all. You're everything to me. I miss you. I'm so happy that I got to interact with you in this way. And I look forward to seeing you and sharing stories with you. And I hope you all get to see Romeo and Juliet. I'm so excited for that. And I'll see you on the internet.
Sounds good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kalian. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sabrina. Of course. Bye.
Bye. I miss you. I'll see you. Oh, Kalian. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Kalian, and sharing those stories. And I also wanted to share audience stories from, you. I wanted to share audience stories from you, our incredible audience. So some of you sent in stories, some sent in videos, pictures. It's made me so happy. So I wanted to just share a few right here. So this first message comes from Vernon Rosario and Hilly Hicks. I think we have a couple pictures of them. They said, "It is just so heartbreaking we aren't all getting to enjoy ISC in the park. It's always the highlight of our summer. It's wonderful meeting up with friends there and being part of the great, diverse LA community. Often, other friends and colleagues just coincidentally show up the same evening. I usually bring a big pot of chicken biryani to feed our group. It is so aromatic that Danny Campbell was drawn over once and wanted to try. We owe him a proper meal, and the whole cast sometime. If not this summer, I hope we will be able to see you all at the studio in the fall. Well, Vernon and Hilly, we are still working on figuring out what the fall is going to look like around here at ISC, but we are just looking forward to seeing everybody as soon as we can. Okay. Up next is a video from longtime ISC family member Dika Ryan. So this is actually going to be a video. This is great. If we have that pulled up, we can show that. Dika is a board member and was a former board member and a longtime ISC family member. So I'm really excited that she sent this in.
Hi, I'm Dika Ryan, longtime ISC fan and former board member. In 2009, a Tibetan monk friend of mine, Chapur, came to spend a year with me. He had just graduated from his monastery in northern India and had come to the US to study English. In the years that he lived in India and Tibet before that, he had seen movies and television, but had never seen a live stage play. So of course, the first thing I did was take him to see Shakespeare in the Park. One of the great things about ISC is that even if you don't understand the language of Shakespeare, or for that matter, English, you can still understand what's happening in the story from the context. In 2009, ISC was doing The Tempest up in Barnstall Park. I live close enough to Barnstall that in the evenings after dinner, Chapur would climb the hill and walk around the top of the park for exercise. On the nights that The Tempest was running, he'd stand at the back and watch a few scenes, and then come home and act it out for me and ask me what was happening in the story at that time. Between Chapur's broken English and my pretty much non-existent Tibetan, I was able to explain what was happening using terms that he knew in English and in Tibetan. He didn't know the word tempest, but he called it the boat play because of the way the shipwreck is done at the beginning of the show. Caliban was just called monster. That was a word Chapur knew. And Prospero, because of the big staff he carried, reminded Chapur of the disciplinarians at the monastery, a position at the monastery that's called Gecho. To this day, Chapur refers to Joe Culleton, who was playing Prospero that year, as Gecho. Is Gecho in the plays this year? Chapur was particularly fond of Trinculo and Stefano, the drunken clown characters, because those are similar to characters that are used in the Tibetan cham dances at the monastery on special occasions. But let's face it, drunken clown characters translate pretty much the same in every language. Chapur lives in the Bay Area now, but tries to come back during the summers to watch Shakespeare in the Park, now that they're in Griffith Park, and on several occasions has brought other friends of his. One other quick story about Chapur. When he was here studying English, he took an English conversation class. Because the other students in class couldn't pronounce his name properly, he took basically a stage name. Since David Melville was the only actor in the company that Chapur knew by name, Chapur took the name David for his conversation class because, as he put it, it sounds so American. Sorry, David.
Thank you again, Dika, for sending that in. I found it so beautiful that Chapur's experience at the festival could transcend language. How incredible. I also love that he chose the British man for his American stage name. Okay, so this next story is from Richard Elizaldes. Richard also sent in a few pictures. He says, we were a little late to the Shakespeare in the Park party, but once we caught on, it was full force. Measure for Measure was our first show in 2017, and we have gone to both performances each time they play. Me, my wife, and our daughter, Mila, make the quick trek from Whittier, stop off at Carl's Jr., and get to the park about an hour and a half before the show to save the best seats and enjoy the outdoors. What did it for me personally was my main man, David Melville. As soon as I heard the drunken tone of his voice as the Duke, I was hooked. Every word he uttered had us all believing he is that character. And for 3-hour shows, we are transported to that time and place. Cheers to Mr. Melville and the rest of the cast, crew, supporters, and planners who put on a top-notch show every summer. Shout out to the snack bar with the Mexican Cokes. Thank you all, and I hope we can get back to some normalcy in our life, which includes a live Shakespeare performance in the park. Richard, thank you so much for sending that in. 2017 was actually my first year in Griffith Park as well. See, measure. So happy 3rd anniversary to your family, and to me as well. Okay, so here we have another one from Sharon and Anna. And yes, so Sharon and Anna also sent in some pictures. They said, "Hi, we are Anna and Sharon Robles, a mother-daughter team. The first independent Shakespeare play my daughter and I saw was Much Ado About Nothing. At the beginning, I was in doubt if Anna was too young to understand and enjoy 17th century theater. And she loved it. She was fascinated. And in the moment when Dogberry said, 'I am an ass,' Anna couldn't stop laughing. She repeated the sentence several times, and when we were leaving, she said it again, and the actor who played Dogberry listened to her and answered, 'I am an ass.' She still remembers that moment, and she points to it as the moment she fell in love with Shakespeare and the theater. Because it was our very first time going to this kind of event, we were very, very unprepared. And a couple of very nice girls who were sitting at our side shared their picnic blanket with us. That is something I have seen several times. People offering food to strangers or helping them. I love that sense of community. 2 years ago, we were watching the play in our usual spot. We have a very special spot we like to watch the plays from. And a very nice lady sat by our side. She offered us fried chicken, which was delicious, and fruit. At intermission, her grandson came running up. He couldn't contain his excitement. He had just got a call that he was going to play one of the soldiers in the next play. When I went to see Titus Andronicus, this time by myself because Anna is way too young for Titus, watching the young man on stage felt very special, almost like watching a friend perform. For us, Shakespeare in the Park is our tradition, our time together, our special summer time. We loved the play and that experience so much that since then we participate as volunteers every single year. Anna is now a teenager, and I hope she can still share these moments for years to come." Oh, Sharon, thank you so much for that beautiful message. So the grandson that she was referencing, that was Ben Anderson. Ben played one of our soldiers and the Goths in Titus Andronicus. Shout out to Ben, how fun. So I just wanted to say thank you to Sharon and Anna because they are the most incredible volunteers. They're at all the festival performances multiple times. They volunteer at the studio. It is always one of my highlights getting to see and work with you guys. You've been such incredible volunteers, and we're so very lucky to have you in the ISC family. And finally, I have a video from Scott and Kimberly Maxwell, who we also love having in the ISC family. They sent this in a couple days ago, so we have that.
Hi, so I'm ISC superfan Scott Maxwell, and I am determined that our now 2-year-old son Robert will be bilingual in Elizabethan English and English. So accordingly, I've been reading Shakespeare sonnets to him since he was in utero, and also both years that he's been around for it, we have taken him to ISC shows. Don't worry, we're respectful of our fellow audience members. He goes home before he gets tired and cranky. So the first performance we took him to was 2018's Midsummer Night's Dream. I can't honestly say I think he got a lot out of that one since he was less than a year old at the time. But he did very much enjoy 2019's Twelfth Night. He was just enthralled by the performances, joyfully joined in when the audience clapped. Clapping is his favorite. And he was up and dancing to the music when David and the band were playing. And then afterward, the lovely folks at the ISC even gave him his own little extra small festival t-shirt, which I think he will very soon be growing into. Although we all have to skip this year, and we're all very sad about that. When the festival resumes, we are planning to keep up the family tradition, and we just can't wait. So from all of us in the Maxwell family to all of our fellow ISC fans, we look forward to seeing you in the park.
Aw, thanks again, Scott and Kimberly. Oh, little Robert, we miss you guys. Scott sent that video to me completely edited. We didn't touch a thing. He's just the best, as always. Thank you so much for sending that in once again. Now, speaking of our incredible audience and the magic that happens at ISC, I wanted to show you guys one of my favorite recorded clips that we have from the shows here. It's from Much Ado About Nothing during the 2015 festival. David would come out each night with an ice cream cart, and well, I think you'll just have to see for yourself what happens. If we have that clip, let's go ahead and show that now.
Yes, she doth indeed, my daughter tells us all. But the ecstasy has so overborne her that some...
See, I told you, you just never know what's going to happen at a show out at the park. Man, I Okay, we're back. So I'm really excited to introduce Elizabeth Dennehy. Elizabeth is a current ISC board member. If you attended last year's season kickoff party, she was the chair of that planning committee, and we are completely in her debt for what an incredible evening that was for all of us. She's also going to be in the upcoming production of Romeo and Juliet, so fingers crossed, maybe we can get her to talk a little bit about that. Please welcome Elizabeth.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you? Good to see you. I wish I could give you an air hug.
I know, I miss you. It's been too long.
It feels so weird not being in Griffith Park at all this summer. So strange.
I know. I just find myself sitting here like I should be setting up chairs in the park, or I should be watching the shows, or yeah, it's very surreal. I'm not used to having this much free time during the summer, so.
That little clip just was like just a little taste. It was almost torturous to see. Made me miss it all the more.
Oh, I know. I completely understand. Liz, I would love to hear a little bit about your experience bringing students to the park, because you teach at LACSA, correct?
Yes, so I teach Shakespeare at LACSA, and I'm a super fan of ISCs from way back. We would bring our children to see the shows at Barnesdale, and I can remember the first time we saw a show, I believe it was The Tempest, and it was opening night, and we couldn't go in and take our seats on the hillside yet because they were hammering and still finishing the set, and we thought, what is this going to be like? And the kids were really little, and they sat way down in front with our dear friends, and we, keep coming back. So years later, when I became a teacher at LACSA, the thing about teaching Shakespeare is it has to be seen. It has to be seen. And, I have a very diverse group of students. And if you're trying to show them video or films of Shakespeare, it's really hard for them to see themselves performing Shakespeare. And that's something that I think Independent Shakespeare Company does so brilliantly, is the audience looks like the actors and vice versa, and they can see themselves up on stage, and that they can do this. And try to find a film of Shakespeare where you can say that's true. It's really difficult. So I've been bringing my kids every year for the last 5 years. And last year, when you did 12th night, it was really special because we had done 12th night at LACSA. And so my cast went, and it was so much fun to watch them watch the play that they had done. And every time somebody on stage did something either the same as what we did or different, they would just turn and look at me like they couldn't believe how much freedom you could have with this magnificent blueprint. And they loved it. And one of the most heartwarming stories for me was the boy who played Orsino in my production had never seen a Shakespeare play before. And he was
wow.
playing Orsino brilliantly, I might add. And to see him up on stage getting a selfie with at ISC with the guy playing Orsino was just swelled my heart. It was so lovely. I'll never forget that moment as long as I live. There he is, Jordan.
Oh, fantastic.
He just a kid who never saw Shakespeare before, you know, and now he is a lifelong devotee and totally turned on to Shakespeare. And so I don't even know if the company realizes what they're doing for people, what they're doing for kids by showing people who look like them, but also taking Shakespeare out of the museum, off the pedestal. Everybody thinks, I think, of Shakespeare as being fusty and dusty and, you know, for the elite intelligentsia, whatever. And my kids turn to me and say, that's the best show I've ever seen. They just love it. And I'm so sad that I can't take them this summer. We really, really miss it.
Yeah.
So the Romeo and Juliet is going to be a great way to make up for that.
Ooh, yes. Well, Liz, what a great segue here that you have being in Romeo and Juliet. Now you're playing a very special role. Yes, can you tell us a bit about why your role is so special?
Well, I never thought I would ever say I'm playing the same part that my father once played. When does that ever happen? So my dad played Montague in the 1996 film version with Claire Danes and Leonardo DiCaprio. He was Romeo's dad. So when David called me, I was like, how can I say no to this? So it's very, very, it means a lot. It's very powerful for me.
That's fantastic. Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah,
I really
kind of
can't
cool.
see that.
Yeah, I can't either. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think back on our relationship with Independent Shakespeare Company. I think about those two little blonde boys sitting and watching the show, The Tempest, and never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I'd be performing with them. You know, Cyrano and now this, and being on the board and raising the money. But that's, the company inspires that kind of devotion. You want to help ISC thrive and survive. But the last thing in the world I pictured was my son on stage with ISC getting his throat slit and baked into a pie. If you told me that when he was little, it's just mind-blowing. It's just absolutely hard to fathom. And I really had never seen Titus before, and I was scared to death. And I saw it 5 times. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was such a great show. And I think the shows keep getting better and better.
I have to agree. It was so much fun. Oh my gosh. Seeing Jack every single night was just hilarious because he's just like the funniest, like most mild tempered thing, you know, whatever. And then you get up on stage. Yeah. And he was so vicious. And we were always like, oh my gosh, it's Jack.
I know. He was exercising something, I think, I hope. But it was so, yeah. He would come home and he would shower and my whole bathroom would look like an abattoir. And for days he would have red blood in his ear. And oh God, it was such a mess. But
oh my gosh. I'm remembering. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I'm completely remembering that final night of Titus Andronicus when he had to go back to school because he had auditions or something like that. So he went to the airport basically covered in blood, right? He like was texting his selfies and was like, I was surprised I made it through security. So
well, to be honest, I have a very dear friend who lives in Playa del Rey, really near the airport, and he went there and had a shower. There's no way I was going to put him on a plane looking like that. I mean, he was really out of a horror movie. So scary. And so we bloodied up my friend Mitchell's bathroom instead, and then he went to the airport. But yeah, he had auditions at 10 o'clock the next morning, so he was on a red eye. Yeah, that was crazy. But oh my God, I long for those days. I mean, it was kind of a pain at the time because it was so frantic and I was slightly hysterical. But now looking back and you know, everything's so boring compared to then.
I know. Oh, I completely understand, man. Well, Liz, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me and share your stories. Was there anything else? Did you have any like sitting in the audience for so long, did you have any like particular favorite interactions with fellow audience members or anything that you saw?
I so wish I had been there the night the lights went out in Athens. That
Oh,
the pictures from that, it was just so incredible. But I go, it's so amazing for LA where you live in your car. It's easy to be pretty isolated. Every single time I
yeah.
go to ISC, I see everybody I know. The audience is filled with all of my friends, and that's rare for this city, I think. The other thing about ISC that I think is so special is that they value their actors so much that they actually pay them. That is also something very unusual, and I want to support them in every way possible.
Oh, thank you so much, Liz, for those kind words. We are very, very lucky to have you as the ISC
I'm very
family and
lucky
on
to
our
have the
board.
company. It's my
Thank you
pleasure.
so much. All right, well, I will see you later, hopefully in person sometime soon. Bye. All right. Oh, thank you again, Elizabeth, for joining us. That was fantastic. I really love getting to relive some of those memories. So actually, since we were just talking about Romeo and Juliet, it feels like a good time to do a bit of a shameless plug for the remaining festival events. So next week, our Artistic Associate for Social Justice, Kearney, is going to be hosting a live panel with important voices in the Black theater community. They're going to be discussing how theater's been used to drive social change and how the LA theater community can maintain this current momentum in the movement. There's going to be opportunities to have your questions answered live by these incredible panelists, so you really don't want to miss that. That is August 22nd at 7 p.m. And then the following week on August 29th, excuse me, on August 29th, our marketing assistant and producer of our Art Break podcast, Carolina, will be diving into the process of creating the festival. You'll get to hear, I think, from David and Melissa, members of our crew, and more as she kind of explores and dives into what it means to bring Shakespeare to LA and to Griffith Park and everything like that. So then finally, after that, what I know you have all been waiting for, our brand new production of Romeo and Juliet will have 4 live stream performances September 3rd through the 6th. Guys, when I say you don't want to miss this, the work and attention to detail that has gone into planning this is quite frankly a little bit insane. And I'm allowed to say that because I have had this much to do with it. But Melissa has adapted the script in this incredible way that's going to allow for recorded scenes and all these live elements. We're expanding the world of the play in a way we've really never done before. I don't know what else I can tell you about, and I probably should have checked before I started live streaming, but I just know it's going to be epic. There's going to be opportunities to interact with characters on social media. You're going to have access to all this really cool bonus content and interactive opportunities. I just haven't seen anybody producing anything like this. So seriously, if you haven't RSVP'd to that yet or to the other remaining festival events, please do that ASAP on our website, iscla.org. Actually, speaking of registering, guys, it's almost like I planned this. All of you who registered for tonight's event were entered in a drawing for a 2020 season t-shirt. Yes, we are having t-shirts. We're going to be figuring out how to make those available for you guys to order soon. But the winner is Jose Galicio Gonzalez. Yay! So Jose, I will be emailing you in the next couple of days to get you all the information you need about that. We're really excited. Thank you for registering and for being here. Oh, okay. We're almost done, guys, I promise. Well, I mean, that's actually probably why I have a little bit more, but I'm really excited about this upcoming segment because I reached out to some of my fellow crew members from the festival. We've seen some really incredible things over the years, like Liz mentioned, that closing night of the 2018 festival, when the lights went out during midsummer, the closing night of the 2017 festival, where there was pouring rain. We've had shows delayed because there were fire trucks on the grass lawn. We have set up in triple-digit heat and crazy conditions, it's always an adventure out at the festival, and we often refer to it as summer camp. So here are a couple of my fellow camp counselors who I reached out to in the hopes they'd share some of their favorite audience interactions. Now, this first video is from my friend Thomas, and he wants to share one of his favorite audience interactions.
Hey, my name is Thomas Zabilski, and I was a concessions manager and a volunteer before that at Independent Shakespeare Company. And one time, I was just watching the YouTube series BuzzFeed Unsolved, and then came into work later, was working the concession stand, and all of a sudden, Shane from the show BuzzFeed Unsolved walks up, wants a cookie, and I'm like, and he's like, and I'm like, my eyes are bugging out, they're freaking out. And yeah, that's just goes to show you never know who's gonna come to the stand or to the show for that matter.
I always love that story. I tell it all the time, but there's zero chance I ever tell it as good as Thomas does. So huge shout out to Thomas for humoring me and recording that video. You know, if that last image looks like it wasn't at the festival, you would be correct. Shane and Ryan actually started their own YouTube channel separate from BuzzFeed Unsolved, and they filmed one of their first videos at the ISC studio. If you guys haven't seen that, it's really funny. Please go check it out. They learned some dance moves with Tawny K or Anita Berber. They did a scene from Hamlet with David and Melissa. Oh, just a really fun night at the studio. Remember when we could all be in the same place at once? That was fun. Anyway, so youtube.com/watcher, I think is their channel. Okay, up next is a video from Giselle Vega, who has had many titles over the years at ISC.
Hi everybody, I'm Giselle. I was the stage manager for Pericles last year. My favorite moment of meeting somebody at the park has been Rivers Cuomo. We got to meet the lead singer for Weezer about 3 summers ago. David gathered all the staff members up and got us to get a picture with him, which was super exciting. I'm a big fan of Weezer, so that was definitely one of my favorite highlights of working at the park. Bye.
Oh, Giselle and little Raven, that's her dog Raven, so cute. Yeah, so I totally remember that night. It was so funny. We just looked over and there was Rivers like sitting against a tree, just watching the show. I really hope this isn't coming across too much like a stars, they're just like us bit of a segment, but I really do think that's just part of the incredible democratic atmosphere of the festival. I mean, like Liz was saying, just everybody is there, everybody is sitting next to each other, and you're all enjoying the same experience, which is really rare for a town like Los Angeles where everything is so dispersed and spread out. Somebody that I always really look forward to coming to the festival shows is Lawrence Fishburne. He's come several times and he is precisely as nice and like effortlessly cool as you would expect him to be. He always comes with his daughter. Oh yeah, there she is right there in the front. Maybe some friends. I mean, yeah, stars. They're just like us. They show up early. They always bring really fun like picnic and come up on stage to take pictures with the cast. Lawrence is just great because he also takes the time to talk individually to the cast members, and I usually overhear him giving these like really fantastic specific compliments. He's just the best. We love Lawrence. And I'm trying to think. Oh, okay, so another really fun guest we had was Andy McDowell. She came to see Titus Andronicus, and that was such a fun surprise. Oh, there she is, albeit sideways. But she came to Titus, and here's David trying not to get blood on her really lovely white outfit. But that was really fun for me personally because my family has watched Groundhog Day countless times. Yes, I do see the irony in that statement. But somebody else that I personally loved getting to see at the park was Mark Dacascos. I'm very sorry, I did not pull an image of him. That's completely my bad. But you might know him from his martial arts film career. He's the host of Iron Chef, or if you're like me and my family, you know him from the Hawaii Five-0 reboot that was on TV a few years ago. And Mark was actually meant to be in Titus Andronicus. But then he got cast in this little film, John Wick 3. I don't know, you might have heard of it. Completely kidding. It was such a cool opportunity for Mark. Of course, he couldn't say no, and he was so great as the villain Nero, I think, in that. And he has remained a really great friend to ISC. So we love Mark around here. Okay, now this next clip I'm going to show you isn't a star of the screen, but rather one of the political sphere. Oh, I'm really excited about this one. Okay. In 2017, U.S. Senator from California and now Vice Presidential candidate Kamala Harris came to a performance of the Two Gentlemen of Verona. It was incredible. She went backstage and spoke with the cast. She took pictures. I think we have some of those. Yeah, she took pictures of the cast. She spoke with them backstage. And even more incredible, she hopped up on stage to say a few words to our audience, which was fantastic. So we just wanted to play, oh, hey, look, that's me. How did that get in there? Yeah, crazy. So we just wanted to play a little clip for you guys of her sharing some words with our incredible festival audience.
Wow. My name is Melissa Chalsma. I'm Artistic Director of Independent Shakespeare Company. Thank you. We're delighted to welcome so many of you to the park this evening, and we're even more excited and honored and moved deeply to introduce to you our very special guest, Senator Kamala Harris.
From kindergarten, and yes, I am best friend still with my best friend from kindergarten. Her son, Patrick Baptiste, is in the production tonight. But I'm also just so excited to be here because this is the best of who we are. The Independent Shakespeare Company is the best of who we are when we know that in these difficult and trying times, at this probably inflection point in the history of our country, we all here know we have so much more in common than what separates us. And this is a moment for us to enjoy, as we should all be able to enjoy always, free access to the arts. This is about showing the best of who LA is, the best of who California is, and what we can do better in our country, which is bringing folks together around a common experience, especially in a world that right now is encouraging divisiveness. This is about showing we are all in it together. We have so much more in common, and this is a night to enjoy our arts under a beautiful sky, also thinking of all of our friends in La Tuna and wishing them the best. So enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Let's enjoy this production. Thank you guys.
Very sorry. We seem to have lost Sabrina's audio. Get that back on. But we still have a couple of more videos, so I'm going to show a couple of these while Sabrina gets plugged back in. I'm the surprise engineer. I wasn't supposed to be seen tonight, but here we go. So this is a clip of Carrie, who's our production manager.
My name is Carrie Reynolds, and last year I was the production coordinator for the Griffith Park Free Shakespeare Festival. And I'm here to talk about one of our favorite audience interactions from last year. It was a really sweet moment. I was changing out a lamp for one of our lights, and I looked up and I saw a man in a nice suit sitting on the picnic table, and there were decorations around. They were hanging things. He had hung something in the tree, so I thought that's interesting. And then a couple minutes later, he was joined by another man in another nice suit, and then I looked over down the hill, and a woman in a white dress with a few of her friends was coming towards this group at the picnic table, and I realized, I said, Jenny, there's a wedding happening. I think there's a wedding happening. So it turns out that this couple was getting married right before the show. They had met in 2015 here at the festival watching Romeo and Juliet, and they had come back 4 years later to
Oh no. Well, we got Sabrina back.
Okay, let's try this again. Can you hear me? Let's test it out, maybe?
Yes, we can hear you.
So.
This is good.
Yeah.
Carrie again.
Okay, take two.
Hi, my name is Carrie Reynolds, and last year I was the production coordinator for the Griffith Park Free Shakespeare Festival. And I'm here to talk about one of our favorite audience interactions from last year. It was a really sweet moment. I was changing out a lamp for one of our lights, and I looked up and I saw a man in a nice suit sitting on the picnic table, and there were decorations around. They were hanging things. He had hung something in the tree, so I thought that's interesting. And then a couple minutes later, he was joined by another man in another nice suit, and then I looked over down the hill, and a woman in a white dress with a few of her friends was coming towards this group at the picnic table, and I realized, I said, Jenny, there's a wedding happening. I think there's a wedding happening. So it turns out that this couple was getting married right before the show. They had met in 2015 here at the festival watching Romeo and Juliet, and they had come back 4 years later to get married and celebrate with their friends. It just so happened that Nikhil, who had played Romeo in 2015, was there that day, so he got to meet them and say hi and congratulate them, and it's really special that ISE and the Griffith Park Free Shakespeare Festival gets to be a part of special moments like this, and how the festival brings together the community in LA, and people found love there, and people have so many memories that are associated with coming to the park every year, and it's really special to know that you get to work with a company that puts on such an amazing festival like this every year, and it's really special. So I think that memory is a testament to all the love that is found at the park.
Aw, thank you, Carrie. And thank you guys for bearing with us on that. It's not live production, right? If we're not rolling with the punches, we're pretty familiar with that here at IC. But I just love what Carrie was saying there. When I say that we love our audience, guys, this is what we're talking about. You've included us in so many of your special events, birthdays, anniversaries, reunions, weddings, and more. And it just fills us with so much joy. I can't even tell you. Having worked the shows for a few summers, like all of us, the crew, the cast, we start to kind of have our own little ISC celebrities that we really look forward to seeing, like Ken Grimes, who makes the absolute most delicious bread, and he brings it to us at the park inevitably when we're like exhausted and starving. The Russo Kearney family, who make delicious homemade ice cream at our audience potluck events. Really hoping that can come back in the future. The gentleman whose name I'm completely blanking on, I'm really sorry I didn't write it down, but the gentleman who brings a full vase of roses on opening night and passes them out, not just to the cast, but all of the crew members as well. guys, it's people like you who make this such a special job. I'm very grateful for it. I really miss it, and I really can't wait to be back. So I have one more video for you guys. This is from our resident ISC stage manager, Jenny Park, and she's talking about a different kind of special festival guest.
Hello, my name is Jenny Park, and I am the resident stage manager for ISC at the Griffith Park Free Shakespeare Festival. During Measure for Measure, I was sitting at the booth table right before the show, and there was this little boy who was about 3 to 4 years old walking by me and saying hi. I remember him asking what I was doing and if he could sit next to me, so I told him I was the stage manager for the show and that he could sit next to me. And when he sat down, he really wanted to know what the light board was and what I was doing. So I explained to him the light board is what brings the lights on and off. I told him to look at the stage and if he would notice any of the light changes that he would see on stage when I pressed the buttons. So he sat and watched the entire first part of the show, very intrigued by the light changes, and it was a very memorable moment for me because there aren't that many people who are interested in what I do as a stage manager. So it was definitely one of my favorite interactions with an audience member.
Oh, so cute. I remember that night so well. And that's also what I love about the festival. You know, Liz was bringing it up earlier, but the chance for all of these people, all these kids are coming to watch Shakespeare for the first time and actually enjoying it. You know, when I first saw Shakespeare for the first time, I did not enjoy it. I have to be honest. It actually wasn't until I saw the production of Othello in the ISC studio that I was like, oh, wow, this is so cool. Okay, I get it. I get what people are so excited about. But yeah, I just love that the festival raises like this next generation of not only theater goers, but potential theater makers, potential artists, all this really cool kind of stuff. So, okay, if I could have just a few more minutes of your time, I was hoping to talk to you about some giving opportunities. So one of the ways you can really help out here at ISC is by becoming a roustabout. Now, you might be asking, what is the roustabout? Well, a roustabout is an ISC fan who believes everybody should have the chance to make and attend theater. Are you looking to level up your commitment to ISC? Now's your chance. By making monthly donations to ISC, you're providing consistent support at a time when, quite frankly, I think we're all looking for a little bit of consistency. Starting at just like $5 a month, you can become a roustabout. And not only are you bringing free and low-cost programming to your community, you're also going to be getting some cool exclusive content. I have some really cool things in store for the roustabouts. This is kind of my pet project at the moment. Like when we get back to the park, we're going to be having really cool roustabout festival meetups. I'm going to be sending you guys some behind the scenes footage, maybe some signature cocktail recipes. If you are interested in joining me and becoming a roustabout, oh man, I really hope nobody's doing a drinking game on how many times I'm saying that word. You can go to iscla.org/roustabouts. If you can't figure out how to spell it, you can just go to our main page and look for the contribute button up in the banner. And if you're not ready to like make a commitment right now, I understand. Well, but this year's festival is being produced, as always, completely free of charge to you. But as we are so fond of saying around here, it's not free for us to produce. We're still paying actor and crew salaries. We will be paying production expenses. And we haven't really had quite the time to do the same fundraising push that we have in years past. So I know there are so many other worthy causes that need your attention and your donation dollars, but if you believe that the arts are essential, if you believe that careers in the arts are essential and still important, then please text ISCLA to 44321. And guys, just as a personal pitch, like ISC didn't furlough anybody in a time when so many theater companies and arts organizations had to do that. We are keeping staff and artists employed and really trying hard to do our part to keep driving the economy. So your donations are directly affecting that. And you're helping to ensure that when tomorrow does arrive and we can all be back together, ISC will be here to welcome you back with live theater. So once again, you can text ISCLA to 44321 to make all of that happen. Whew. Okay, well, guys, thank you so much for watching and bearing with me. Technical difficulties all wrapped up. I have never actually hosted a live stream. I'm really hoping that was not terribly apparent tonight. It might have been, but I had a really great time pulling this event together. I miss the festival so much. The crew kind of texts about it sometimes, and we like to pretend that we're up at the park and getting ready for the shows. I miss interacting with all of you. And while nothing is ever going to replace that, listening to these stories and reminiscing on all these incredible moments that have happened up at the festival has really done a lot to ease that absence for me. And I hope it's done the same for you tonight. Thank you to David, who, as you saw, was the man behind the curtain tonight, running tech, fixing issues, showing images, videos, etc. Thank you. Thank you once again to my guests, Kalyan and Elizabeth, for taking time out of your schedules to chat with me. Thank you to my fellow crew members for sending in those videos and dealing with all my text messages back and forth. I know there were a lot of. Thank you to our virtual production intern, Angela Romo, who did the editing on most of the videos you saw there tonight. She was fantastic, and I really couldn't have pulled this off without her. Thank you to the rest of our ISC team for just being awesome and supportive as always. And just thank you. Thank you. Seriously, if you sent in stories or videos or have watched anything or come to anything at all, if you're here tonight, just thank you so much for your support. Thank you for making the festival the special, special place that it is. I love you guys, and I really hope that I'm able to see you again soon. Okay, bye. Have a good night.